Hello everyone, welcome back into North of 7 Cards. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram, North of 7 Cards, and on eBay, North-of-the number 7. Today we've got for you the 2024 Bowman Baseball Mega. This is break number 48 here on July 29th. Let us know in the chat, who are we looking for today? Trying to hit some bangers in the Mega Mojo packs. Don't say 10 times fast. As always, let us know who we're looking for in this break. Manifest some hits. There we go. We're going to open up all our boxes. Separate it. Wait for the good stuff. Here we go. Obviously a big weekend in the baseball world. The trade deadline just over 24 hours away from now, and there were some big ones on the weekend. Jazz Chisholm Jr. as a Yankee. Isaac Paredes to Chicago. Blue Jays traded Danny Jansen to Boston. Just a very wild weekend already on top of the Rose Arena trade. Teams seem like they're jumping on the trend of other sports. Get on it early. Get the deadline before it gets you. Which definitely makes a lot of sense for these teams that are trying to contend, trying to get players in the fold faster. Obviously then becomes a prospect game, who you give up. Saw the Jazz Chisholm trade and immediately thought, is it any of the Yankees' big boys, which it was not. Aside from Agustin Ramirez, who was a pretty well-regarded prospect, but not the Spencer Jones or Jason Dominguez. Now they get Jazz Chisholm under control for the next 2 years. Just trying to add a spark to that lineup that now includes a lot of left-handed bats. Like watching the game yesterday and seeing Verdugo and Soto and now Jazz, Austin Wells hitting in that cleanup spot. They got a lot of lefty bats, so they're definitely gearing up. I mean, they're trying to gear up to save their season, really. And then positionally, what do they do with Jazz? Do you play third? Does someone else move over? It's a big but good problem to have at this time of the year. Instead of the teams that are thinking, oh, vacations are we planning? What are we doing September, or I guess October once our season's done? And you can even see a team like the Blue Jays who, big series win over Texas and are still trading off their pieces. But then obviously the Paredes trade includes one of my least favorite moments to ever see in sports, and it's someone getting traded mid-game. So Christopher Morel goes from Chicago to Tampa, and during the game just has to say goodbye to all his teammates. Don't love watching that, if I'm being honest. But it is part of the game, it is the business. It just, probably on a human level, sucks to see. And those guys, they'll always talk nicely about the organization they're leaving, but there's has to be an ounce, a sense of saltiness. But I guess that's also what we have free agency for those guys to make those decisions themselves, get through arbitration, especially in baseball. It's such an uphill battle to get to. I don't want to say freedom because that's a little dramatic, but, autonomy. Getting to make those choices for yourself. No, we open everything. You will see everything open. It's just the Mojo packs will go a little slower. Kind of enjoy that moment a little more. See what hits we can get. Autos, numbered cards, and the like. I do have to say, within the NL Central, it is nice to see the Cubs making that move, because it does feel like a division that is, I don't want to say up for grabs, because Milwaukee is having a very good year, but it does seem possible that someone could catch them. They do seem at least somewhat vulnerable to me, and the Cubs are really, at least in my mind, the only team that can really keep up. Like, the Pirates and Reds are kind of in that same spot of, like, they're not going to want to risk whatever is going on. Which makes sense, but at the same time, yeah, like the Skeens, like, innings limits and taking them out mid-perfect games, or no-hitters, I guess. It is a tough watch as a baseball fan, even though if that was your team, you'd probably want to be doing the same thing, conserving a future superstar of the league and not blowing out his elbow within his first few months in the league. But just, you see a guy was the all-star starter and has all this pedigree coming from LSU, #1 pick, and he's living up to those expectations, but the rest of the team is not near those expectations. Alright, final box. Push those back. There we go. We'll go stack by stack. Good luck, everyone. I guess the Orioles are that team we're waiting for. They're kind of I don't want to say the looming giant, but is there bigger than Zach Eflin and swapping Austin Hayes for Sir Anthony Dominguez? Is there more, or are these just these little tweaks that they want to do? So I don't think the tweaks are necessarily a bad thing, but could they make that move that puts them over the top and makes them the World Series favorites and undoubtedly the best team in baseball? Like, that to me seems possible. Like, the Yankees are still right there. Despite how bad they've been and they can't hit, they have such a good April and May that the rest of the year almost doesn't matter. All right, let's kick it off here. Kierstead, Ryan Burroughs, Roderick Arias. There's Mason Wynn. Aiden Miller, Colson Montgomery. Ryan Lasco, Marcelo Meyer. Capri Ortiz, Rainer Arias. Yohan Fran Garcia, Cam Collier, Lawler, Cowser, Ethan Salas, Cole Foster, Anthony Hueso, and Seven Ceballos. Henry Davis, Luciano, Cruz, Aiden Smith, Garrett Forrester, Bryce Matthews, Seven Ceballos. Saw some Ellie there. Dylan Cruz, Garrett Forrester. John Cruz, Roderick Arias. Bryce Eldridge, Colson Montgomery. Sal Frelick, Jared Cerna, and Tayshawn Walton. Cerna, one of those new members in Miami. One of the 3 prospects traded for Jazz. Yamamoto, Abraham Nunez, Jack Hurley, Luke Keeschel, Jackson Holiday, Ty Pete, Luis Angel Acuna, Jose De Paula, Kendall George, Xavier Isaac, Mike Bove, and Trey Morgan. Owen White, saw Jazz. Rafi Velasquez, Davison Gutierrez, Harrison, Diego Benitez, and Hao Yu Lee. And as much as, you know, the White Sox have those 2 guys, Crochet and Robert, I feel like it's becoming... I liked the report of Detroit's not trading Skubal, which would not make sense to do that anyways. He's a building block. He's a foundational piece of a franchise. But the White Sox, I'm starting to think more and more that they might be keeping Luis Robert. Crochet, I think, makes sense to trade, and it'll kind of just create that bidding war, especially the... Kind of seems like Padres-Dodgers is going to be the 2 teams kind of outbidding each other. And it's funny for San Diego to go back to that well after already getting Dylan Cease, who threw a no-hitter. Like I said, the second in Padres history with Joe Musgrove, but just... I mean, I guess if it isn't broke, don't fix it, and just keep getting White Sox pitchers, putting them on a better team that has playoff, I guess we'll say, aspirations, the Padres. I mean, also, it's also what I say about the Mets, but, you know, they're the Mets. As much as people want to say it's all about the Mets. I don't know, I mean, to say they're the best team in New York is not that big of a statement right now. Even after, and I'm sure everyone will freak out after a series win in Boston, but this is still working. All these teams still working. Probably it's not even August yet. Like there's a lot to be done. Shanuel. There's Serna. Colt Emerson. Homer Bush Jr. Abbott. Raylan Heredia. Luis Guanipa. Anthony Skull. Kevin Sim. Man Ramirez. Droze Tapala. Westberg. Ronnie Hernandez. Daverson Gutierrez. Brooks Brandon. Hao-Yu Lee. Tommy Troy. Cam Collier. All rise there. Aaron Judge. Priester. Williams. John Wimmer. Cole Foster. Brock Porter. Jet Williams. Luke Adams. Travis Honeyman. Gonzalez. Andre Vargas. Roman Anthony. Zora Rafaela. Colin Houck. Jackson Churio. Gustin Ramirez. Cole Young. Carter Lee. Ramon Landeta. Michael Arroyo. Mac Horvath. Camilo Diaz. Williams. Braden Taylor. Brooks Lee. Felix Morabel. Jackson Merrill. Max Clark. Tamar Johnson. Judge Priester. Nunez. Walker Jenkins. Yanquiel Fernandez. Luis Baez. And Brian Acuna. It's also hard at this point of the year to be like, oh, this team's ahead of this team, and this team is going to do this in the playoffs, and it's not only just 2 months, it's also 2 days, or I guess 1 day of the deadline, of you never know what last-second move a team's going to make. It seems like everybody is kind of ahead of the curve and trying to get their moves done early, but when that day comes and when that, clock is ticking, you never know what their team's going to do. You never know the panic move, the extra prospect they'll throw in, or on the flip side of that, the team that's, you know what, we're not going to contend, we don't want to keep this guy, send him off. Because at this point, these teams, I'm sure they'll take today to even say, well, how do we look today? Even though the record will only change by 1 game, win or loss, they'll still say, well, let's take today, let's look at our schedule, look at our record tomorrow, look where we are, look at the stats, look kind of at everything. As much as it is a work in progress, it also does have to be that last second call of what do we want to do? What do we want to be this year? Davis, Jenner Arenamo, Drew Jones, Kyle Teal, Elijah Green, David Guzman, Yohandy Morales, Sassoni, Jacob Burke, Lazaro Montes, Jacob Gonzalez, Marcelo Meyer, Max Wagner, Rainer Arias, Alan Castro, Jackson Merrill, Cam Monero, Chase Davis, Tamar Johnson, Tony Blanco Jr., Yanquiel Fernandez, Carson Weisenhunt, Brian Acuna, there's Ellie Geloff, Colton Ledbetter, Deniche Valdez, Yamamoto, Wells, Matos, Max Anderson, Arak Origio, Shanuel, Mauricio, Lofton, Roccaforte, Ryan Clifford, Camp Alderman, Brandon Maea, Abbott, Dylan Head, Enrique Jimenez, Sal Frelick, Daniel Susak, Spencer Nivens, Tony Ruiz, Jace Young, Mason Wynn, Smith Shaver, Adams, Esmo Valencia, Maui Ahuna, Adrian Santana, Spencer Jones, Ryan Vanderhee, and James Wood. On to the final stack. I was trying to figure out if the NL East is as over as we think it is. I know the Braves this is just the worst possible year they could have had injury-wise. You lose Acuna, you lose Strider. As much as fans will hypothesize, theorize that, they could have got Jazz, could they get Luis Robert, as much as that would be, definitely not a long-term problem, but just what's the point of contending this year, but the Phillies are better, the Mets are better than them because of the injuries. You battling, the Padres, the Diamondbacks, an NL Central team for a wild card spot, and hope some magic fairy dust is gonna bring this season all together. It just doesn't, to me, that doesn't sound realistic. As much as I would just think of next year of an outfield that includes Luis Robert, Michael Harris, and Ronald Acuna, or some move like that. I guess if anything, they're probably going starting pitching, and then you're getting Garrett Crochet, which kind of feels like it's the contender move, besides the shifty Phillies-Orioles move, which the more and more I think about it, Austin Hayes and that Philly platoon, and adding Sir Anthony Dominguez, who I think is a good bullpen arm. I also still think James Karinchuk from Cleveland is still a good arm. I don't know the last time I've seen him throw in the majors. Last stack, Verlander, Ellie, Cooper Pratt, Deniche Valdez, Jaron Elkins, Rock Origio, Paul Skeens, Drew Jones, Arjun Namala, Elijah Green, Colt Emerson, Homer Bush Jr., Smith Shawver, Raylan Heredia, Luis Guanipa, Rodriguez, Owen White, Anthony Skull, Kevin Sim, Sassoni, Tena, Bobby Witt Jr., Ramon Ramirez, Jose De Paula, Samuel Basello, Enrique Jimenez, Lawler, Cowser, Emmanuel Tejada, Spencer Nivens, Dominguez, Jacob Wilson, Tayshaun Walton, Luciano Geloff, Jacob Burke, George Walco, and Jack Hurley. Schwarber, Harrison, Tony Blanco Jr., Yanquiel Fernandez, Carson Weisenhunt, Brian Acuna, Colton Ledbetter, Derniche Valdez, Landeta, Max Anderson, Rock Origio, Soderstrom, Zanatello, Justin Crawford, Lawler, Cowser, Farmello, Vandenberg, Enrique Bradfield Jr., Emmanuel Bonilla, Luciano, Douglas Glad, and Alberto Rios. Alright, let's jump into some Mega Mojo. Ronnie Mauricio, Aiden Smith. Here we got a Sal Frelick, 212 of 299 for Sal Frelick. Good kickoff there. First pack, first numbered card there. Sal Frelick. Matt Shaw, Spencer Jones. Quinn Priester, Christian Encarnacion Strand, Ronald Acuna Jr., Sal Frelick, Julio Rodriguez. Jared Dickey, Douglas Glad, Jason Dominguez, Rookie of the Year favorites. There's Andy Rodriguez, George Walco. Felix Morba, Wyatt Langford, Jordan Lawler, Justin Crawford, Jr. Caminero. Aaron Judge, Marco Luciano. We got Jackson Holiday with the Prospect Power Up, Ethan Salas, and Jose De Paula. Mookie Betts, Rafaela, Everson Pereira, Mike Trout, Juan Soto. Johan Rojas, Kodai Senga, Sedeni Rafaela, Dylan Cruz, Francisco Alvarez. Walker Jenkins, Nolan Shanuel. We got a prospect power-up for Xavier Isaac. Alexander Canario and Ryan Velasco. George Lombard Jr., Kyle Teal, Mason Wynn, Rookie of the Year favorites, Jordan Lawler, and Nick Gonzalez. Nolan Shanuel, Curtis Mead, Pete Crow Armstrong on the Rookie of the Year favorites, Brenda Maia, Pete Crow Armstrong. Curtis Mead, Luis Matos, Evan Carter, Everson Pereira, Brando Maia. Jose Rodriguez, Felton Celestin. We got a Jordan Westberg. That is a 29 of 125 for the Orioles rookie. I've got one of the new Marlins, Jared Cerna and Brock Porter. Ben Williamson, Carson Weisenhunt. Here we got a Robert Callas. That is a 20 of 299 for Robert Callas. Jackson Churio, Sebastian Walcott. Xavier Isaac, Miles Naylor, Heston Kierstead, Rookie of the Year favorites, Jackson Holiday, Ryan Burroughs. Adley Rutschman, Abimelech Ortiz, Cooper Pratt, Francisco Alvarez, and Evan Carter. Yohandy Morales, Lazaro Montes. Here we've got Drew Jones. That is a 123 of 199 for Drew Jones. Colton Cowser, Heston Kierstead. Paul Skeens, Ellie De La Cruz, Marco Luciano, Jason Dominguez, and Junior Caminero. Roderick Arias. Here we got an auto here for Enrique Bradfield Jr. That is a 168 of 199 on the auto. We got Austin Wells, Rookie of the Year favorites, Aiden Miller, Byron Churio. Luis Baez, Anthony Volpe. We got Dylan Cruz with the Prospect Power-Up, Riley Green, Jordan Westberg. Luis Baez, Anthony Volpe. We got Max Clark with the Prospect Power-Up, Luis Matos, Jung-Hoo Lee. Mason Wynn, Henry Davis, Sedenia Rafaela, Austin Wells, Zach Geloff. Mason Wynn, Henry Davis, Junior Caminero with the Rookie of the Year favorites, Masataka Yoshida, Bryce Harper. Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Abimelech Ortiz, Evan Carter, Jason Dominguez. Wyatt Langford, Luke Adams, And we got a Bryce Eldridge with the prospect power-up. Matt Shaw, Spencer Jones. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Jacob Burke, Everson Pereira, Justin Crawford, Jr. Caminero. Cooper Pratt, Paul Skeens, Rookie of the Year favorites, Nolan Shanuel, Shohei Ohtani, Tyler Soderstrom. Sedenia Rafaela, Everson Pereira. We got George Lombard Jr., Nick Gonzalez, Jackson Churio. Kyle Teal, Ben Williamson, Curtis Mead with the Rookie of the Year favorites, Sebastian Walcott and Robert Callas. Walker Jenkins, Nolan Shanuel. Here we got Sebastian Walcott with the prospect power-up, Julio Rodriguez, Andy Rodriguez. We got Luke Adams, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Samuel Basallo, rookie or prospect power-up that is, Mike Trout, Noel V. Marte. Jacob Burke, Mookie Betts, Pete Carl Armstrong, Juan Soto, Jordan Lawler. Curtis Mead, Luis Matos, Jr. Caminero, Rookie of the Year favorites, George Walco, Jared Cerna. Bobby Witt Jr., Corbin Carroll. Here we got Heston Kierstead, a Rookie of the Year favorites. That is a 60 of 150 for Kierstead. Riley Green, Jordan Westberg. Carson Weisenhunt. Here we got an auto for Max Anderson. We got Max Anderson with the auto. And right behind it, we got an Anthony Volpe, 16 of 175 for Volpe. Yoelan Cespedes and Barack Wilkin. Enrique Jimenez, Bryce Matthews, Marco Luciano, the Rookie of the Year favorites, Austin Wells, and Zach Geloff. Drew Jones, James Wood, Noel V. Marte, Rookie of the Year favorites, Pete Crow Armstrong, Max Clark. Drew Jones, James Wood, Jordan Lawler, Rookie of the Year favorites, Robert Callas, Yoelan Cespedes. Ellie De La Cruz, Ronnie Mauricio. Here we got Ethan Salas, 105 of 250 for Ethan Salas. Noel Marte and Josh Young. Bryce Matthews. We got some more ink here for Paul Skeens. There we go. Paul Skeens auto. Beautiful one there. Congrats to the Skeens spot. Getting an auto. We got Rookie of the Year favorites, Nolan Shanuel, Aiden Miller, and Byron Churio. Last pack Magic, Aiden Smith, Felix Morbell, Ronnie Mauricio, Arjun Namala, and Antonio Anderson. Alright, let's do our recap. Numbered hits and autos. We got Ethan Salas to 250, Anthony Volpe 16 of 175, Heston Kierstead 60 to 150, Drew Jones 123 of 199, Robert Calles 20 of 299, Jordan Westberg 29 of 125, Sal Frelick 212 of 299, and with our ink we've got Max Anderson, Enrique Bradfield 168 out of 199, and Paul Skeens. They're rocking the number 60. All right, everyone, that will wrap us up here for the 2024 Bowman Baseball Mega. So it's break number 48 here on July 29th. Thank you, everyone, for joining. If you're going to be joining us for later breaks, we will see you then. If not, take care.